didn't really necessarily need the vaccine, but got it anyway. So there you go. So at this point, I don't want to keep my country shut down because of you. And I mean, the idea that tonight, Cal OSHA barely avoided some idiotic rule that was going to go through July 31st, that if everybody in the room was vaccinated, but one person who was not vaccinated chose not to wear a mask, everybody had to wear a mask. It just, I mean, I am encouraged that common sense apparently has finally reared its ugly head there with Cal OSHA. But at this point, this is what's interesting to me is, so here we are in real time in June of 2021. And you read the book, The Great Influenza by John Barry. You go back to December 1918, January of 1919, February of 1919, and you see how people finally said, it's gone, can we open everything back up? And by and large, they had. But so we're at that point now where people whose job it is to somehow guarantee a zero-death scenario are having to put their decisions on the line in a way that's individual conscience, civilization unbeneficial, penalizing. That I don't know what we're going to tell our kids 10 years from now, but this pantomime that my daughter just sat through for the past year, and then they mailed in the end of last year. I don't know. I mean, she's going to be in summer school for the next 5 years to make up for this. And meanwhile, the California kids are getting lapped by Florida kids because they never left school. The California high school athletes are having to play catch up with Texas athletes and Florida athletes, and their death per 100,000 rate is lower than ours. And this, for high school sports, these are kids that are statistically immune. But the Florida kids, the Texas kids, they have another year of football under their belt. Basketball, volleyball, you name it. Back in a second, it is the Tim Conway Jr. Show. Bryan Suits filling in. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Michael Crozier in for Tim Conway Jr. And we have an arrest. Breaking news. String of synagogue vandalisms between May 26th and yesterday. Yesterday, police circulated security footage showing a man believed to be carrying boxes with bricks and pieces of concrete near the Westwood and Pico corridors. And they have identified this man as John Knight Prince. And he's kind of hard, not exactly like Ring doorbell quality video, but the man under arrest appears to be, I'm gonna tell you, like early 60s white guy, kind of bald, not owning it, not going for the full clean dome, and so a man arrested in connection with a series of vandalism in West L.A., including at Pico Robertson. John Knight Prince was arrested a few hours ago on suspicion of committing 13 acts of vandalism on Westwood and Pico Boulevards between May 26th and yesterday, June 2nd. The L.A. PD said through a spokesperson he was booked on suspicion of felony vandalism and being held on $325,000 bail. LAPD did not specify how many counts of vandalism he faced. It was not immediately clear who was representing him. Blah, 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 blah. Officials said Prince threw bricks, rocks, or hard objects at the windows of buildings. LAPD spokesman Tony Im confirmed that one of the incidents involved the vandalism of Young Israel of Century City, a synagogue in Pico. Security camera footage released to the media by the synagogue showed a man throwing a concrete slab at the building around 1 a.m. Friday. The synagogue's shatterproof windows stopped the slab from breaking the glass. The man tried a second time to throw the concrete at the building, then rushed off. The vandal was also suspected of tossing concrete at Pat's, a kosher steakhouse nearby, and a good one, by the way, and shattering a window there. LAPD spokesman Im said he could not confirm whether Prince had been arrested in relation to that incident. Anyway, and this was began happening sort of on the tail end of the Hamas launches rockets at Israel. Israel retaliates thing, and it always blows back on the synagogues. Though it took on a flavor that I haven't seen here in LA before, including like, for instance, marauding guys waving Palestinian flags, attacking Jewish men eating at a sushi restaurant. I don't know how they determined who was who. I mean, besides the fact that the guys flying the Palestinian flags were not the Jewish men. And then that bizarre scene of the two SUVs waving Palestinian flags, chasing an Orthodox Jewish guy across the street. I mean, that looked terrifying, but ominous. But then this one's weird. I mean, an older white guy, and I'm gonna take a mulligan, by the way, if it turns out that he is possibly an immigrant, changed his name or something. But it just seems sort of out of place for someone to go out of their way to do that. So, and by the way, I know right now there's enhanced awareness of a reported increase in assault, verbal and physical, against members of the Asian American Pacific Islander community, and they're certainly being reported more, and the whole thing. But there's nothing that comes close to the consistency of anti-Jewish hate, and I mean, you're kind of in the wrong town for that. But because there's a lot of retired people who are nevertheless still working in the personal security environment and all that. And maybe if we didn't have a governor that blamed the Vietnamese community for COVID, that wouldn't be a problem.
This whole thing started in the state of California, the first community spread in a nail salon.
So there is that. Well, speaking of things exploding, there has been just an amazing set of coincidences in regards to infrastructure in Iran, whether it be their major oil refinery. Today, pipeline mysteriously blew up. And then, one of the most crucial training ships for the Iranian Navy, as well as a crucial ship for the Iranian Navy just to operate. It had a mysterious explosion that sank it. And so a curious set of darn shames happening all across Iran. This as the Iranians are in Vienna, and the Biden administration is trying for all the world to get them to re-agree to another nuclear deal. And so we'll talk about that next hour, because you know what? That's what I do. It is the Tim Conway Jr. Show. Bryan Suits filling in KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.